What's up and welcome back? I'm John Stark from MacMovieGuy.com, your favorite blind film critic, and today I'm still in my March Madness mood. So I'm still going through Netflix and picking out 31 of the best movies that I think that they've made, and I'm including A Futile and Stupid Gesture. This is the National Lampoon biopic. So click like and subscribe because we're going to talk about it. It's from the director of Role Models, and it has a pretty broad cast. It stars Will Forte as Doug Kenny, who the film is mostly about. Martin Mull also voices him as sort of like an older version of Doug Kenny. And along the way you get, oh my God, the cast to this is gigantic. Domhnall Gleeson, Natasha Lyonne, Joel McHale, Ed Helms, Seth Green, Jackie Tone. Trying to remember everybody who was in this. David Krumholtz. I don't know. It's just an assload of people are in this movie in like small roles too. Like a lot of people just kind of pop up. Chris Redd, a lot of people just kind of pop up in this movie and they go away. It really does star Will Forte though, because the film does focus primarily on his Doug Kenny, one of the founders of National Lampoon and writer behind movies like Animal House and Caddyshack. And sort of how National Lampoon became this big thing, and the pushback against it, and how they ended up making these movies, and a loose. I think probably some of the people who are still alive would not want to admit to all of this stuff that happens in here, like the cocaine use. I think they probably would sidestep that a little bit. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe some of them would dive in and be like, yeah, we absolutely have done that. That was what it was. That was the 70s, man. You know? But it's a funny way of telling this story, because it constantly feels like it's trying to blend National Lampoon mentality into the direction of the movie, and good National Lampoon mentality too, by the way. Not like National Lampoon mentality when they just kind of like sold the brand name and just started slapping it on like random movies, like National Lampoon's Senior Trip, National Lampoon's Gold Diggers, National Lampoon's, I don't know, whatever, but back when movies still felt like, when you saw National Lampoon in front of a movie, it still felt like it was going to be a smart comedy, like Vacation, you know? So, an Animal House. It it feels more like that. Like they're trying to go for that. Will Forte's got some good one-liners. He speaks almost entirely in one-liners. Actually, his I guess that Kenny just lived his life one-liner at a time. But there's the one that I remember is where he's on the set of, I think it was Caddyshack, or was it Animal House? He was on the set of one of the movies, and somebody's saying how they don't like the movie, and it's and he says he's like, I think the script's brilliant, and I'm not just saying that as a writer. I'm saying that as a black man. Of course, he's not black. He's Will Forte, but it's just the confidence at which Will Forte says that line. It takes you off guard, and he says stuff like that all the time, and he just has these one-liners. He goes on to a talk show and shows a picture that shouldn't be shown on television. And talks about it anyway, and you could tell that the host is just like not having it. He's just like, well, this is very sophomoric humor. And it is. I mean, but we used to be able to have sophomoric humor. We used to be able to have pointed, witty sophomoric humor in things like National Lampoon and Mad and Cracked and things like that that came about. Not all of it was sexist or racist or homophobic or anything like that. Some of it was pointed in a certain direction. Some of it was political. Some of it was just satirically funny. And for the most part, I think this movie gets it right. I think this movie inhabits that mood that National Lampoon had coming out. These guys that went to Harvard and ended up deciding to go into comedy instead, and started a revolution, a comedy revolution of sorts. So I thought Will Forte was really good in this, and the host of everyone else who comes in and out of this movie and around him, I thought they all, supported him nicely. They have little moments where they sound like the people who they're supposed to be representing, the famous people. I actually thought Joel McHale did a really nice job with Chevy Chase. I was kind of surprised because Joel McHale usually just comes across as Joel McHale, but I actually thought he made a pretty good Chevy Chase, which is very meta in and of itself because he was with Chevy Chase on Community. So if anybody knows how to play Chevy, it's got to be Joel, right? It's got to be somebody who's worked with Chevy before, and actually is very familiar with his mannerisms, and also studies like the younger version of him. So I think Joel has a very strong understanding of who Chevy Chase is, and if we ever do a Chevy Chase biopic, Joel. I think he has a very good understanding of who Chevy is. So even though it feels like Joel has no range typically as an actor, I think he has range in so much that he makes for a pretty good Chevy Chase. So I saw this before and I like this again. It's still a funny movie, and the one-liners. This movie came out in 2018, so it's been like 7 years. And it's still cracking. It's still popping, and it's the kind of movie that I could watch every 7 years. So it's I don't know how true it is. I have a feeling that this takes a lot of liberties. Like I would not. I would go heavily on the based and put like an underline underneath that on a true story, because I feel like it very is much based on a true story, because it feels like it's way more interested in entertaining us than it is educating us. And I'm fine with that because it's the kind of movie, it's based about National Lampoons. I think they would approve of that too. I don't think that they're going to disapprove and say, no, this should be closer to the real thing. So, I'm going to give A Futile and Stupid Gesture, which by the way does have audio description. And for the most part, I didn't think it did a bad job of the audio description. There's kind of a clever, there's some of the art that's described really well. There's a clever scene where that shows Doug sort of breaking up with his wife in sort of like an animated sequence, like a comic strip sequence. And I thought that was narrated really well. So there are moments. It's got a huge cast and people are constantly coming in and out of it, so you don't get a lot of character description. You basically just have to figure out who is who and when somebody's mentioned. But luckily, most of the character mentions are introduced. There's a time when Doug is introducing like who the main writers from National Lampoon would be, and it very much is this like intro thing for each one of them. Like they each get like a few seconds to introduce themselves, and then later on when they add some of the famous people who are coming in, like Harold Ramis and Chevy Chase and Bill Murray, I feel like they were all introduced in a way where you knew who they were. So it does the bare minimum. It's a very big cast, very broad cast, and it's constantly like a lot of people are in here for small roles. Reminded me a lot of Saturday Night, actually. Very fast paced and just moving through scenes of cameos of people just popping up. Jackie Tone's in here as Gilda Radner, and I think she's in it for like just maybe like a minute. You know, it's just like she just breezes through and she's out. So uh that's it. If you're doing stupid gesture, I'm giving it a B plus. Thanks for watching, thanks for subscribing, and I'll see you guys on the other side.